Have you ever felt like you're running behind in life, like everyone else seems to be finding their purpose while you're stuck just trying to keep your eyes open after another double shift? Maybe you've prayed for direction, for healing, for something to change, but heaven seems quiet. If that's you, take a deep breath. You're not behind. You're right on schedule, God's schedule. And His timing? It's never rushed, never delayed, and always, always perfect. Now, I know that might sound cliché when you're deep in caregiver burnout, feeling like your faith is slipping through your tired fingers. You might even wonder, where is God in this hospital chaos? Does He see how exhausted I am? But what if I told you that your waiting, your weariness, and your weakness are actually part of your divine assignment? That even in the middle of those endless hallways and beeping monitors, God's timing is shaping something extraordinary in you. This video isn't just another dose of Christian motivation. It's a lifeline for every Christian nurse, doctor, or healthcare worker who feels late, overlooked, or forgotten. We'll talk about faith under pressure, spiritual healing, and how to trust God's plan when everything in you screams to give up. You'll see that your story isn't stuck, it's unfolding. Because even when you feel like you've missed your moment, God is saying, "You're right where I need you to be." When the healer needs healing. There's a strange irony in being the one who cares for everyone else but feels invisible when it's your turn to need help. Every caregiver knows that quiet ache, the smile you wear while your soul whispers for rest. In hospitals and clinics, people talk about compassion fatigue, but few mention caregiver burnout as a spiritual wound. It's more than exhaustion. It's the slow fading of purpose under fluorescent lights. Yet even here, God's whisper remains steady. You're not meant to heal alone. Think of a nurse who starts every shift with a prayer, hoping for spiritual strength for healthcare workers like her, but by nightfall, feels numb. Her faith in healthcare feels tested every day. What she doesn't realize is that God isn't disappointed by her fatigue, He's present in it. The Christian encouragement she needs isn't in pretending to be strong, it's in admitting she's human. Sometimes trusting God's plan looks less like pushing through and more like pausing, breathing, and letting Him refill what's been poured out. So, what if the moments you feel least spiritual are the ones where God is doing His deepest spiritual healing? What if your purpose in healthcare isn't just to heal bodies, but to learn how to receive healing yourself? Because the truth is, even the strongest Christian healthcare workers need a reminder that God's love isn't earned through service. It's experienced through surrender. And as you'll soon see, learning to rest in that truth may just be the start of real recovery. When God's timing feels too slow. Every caregiver knows the frustration of waiting for a patient to respond to treatment, for relief to come, or for prayers that seem to hang in the air unanswered. When you're surrounded by emergencies, God's timing can feel painfully slow. Yet, what if the delay isn't punishment but preparation? Many Christian nurses and healthcare workers of faith discover that the waiting seasons are where their spiritual muscles grow the most. It's in those in-between moments that faith under pressure becomes real faith, the kind that trusts even when you can't trace. Think about a doctor who's prayed for a breakthrough, professionally, emotionally, or even in a tough diagnosis. The world tells her success is all about control and speed. But God's perfect timing works differently. He often pauses what feels urgent to build what's eternal. Maybe He's teaching her that the pace of the hospital doesn't have to match the pace of her soul. That's where trusting God in hard times becomes not just theology, but survival. A way to breathe when everything else feels too heavy. When we realize divine timing isn't about delay but alignment, we stop striving to catch up and start resting in His rhythm. Even when your coworkers move ahead, or life feels like it's sprinting past you, your purpose and calling are still right on schedule. The truth? God is never late. He's weaving your story with threads that take time to reveal their beauty. And maybe, just maybe, the waiting isn't wasted at all, but a sacred pause before the breakthrough that's coming next. Finding purpose in this pressure. Every Christian healthcare worker eventually hits that point where the pressure feels unbearable. The pager won't stop, the patients keep coming, and the prayers feel unanswered. But pressure has a strange way of revealing purpose. Diamonds are born that way, right? The same is true for your purpose in healthcare. What if God isn't trying to break you, but to refine you? Sometimes what feels like chaos is actually divine calibration, a reminder that your calling is holy, even when your shift feels anything but. Let's say a nurse feels trapped in routine, questioning if her work still matters. She used to pray before every patient, but now she's just trying to survive the day. That's when Christian inspiration has to turn into practice. Maybe it's as simple as whispering a prayer for nurses in the middle of a busy hallway, or leaving a small note of hope for a coworker. Little acts like these rekindle faith in healthcare, transforming ordinary moments into ministry. Because sometimes, hospital ministry isn't on a stage. It's in the quiet kindness that reminds someone they're seen. In those moments, overcoming burnout with faith stops being a slogan and starts being your lifeline. The more you learn to see God in the pressure, the less the pressure defines you. You begin to understand that this calling, this relentless, sacred, demanding work, isn't about perfection, but presence. And maybe that's where we find our real power. In realizing that every heartbeat we help sustain is also echoing a greater purpose still unfolding. When faith feels faint, even the strongest believers face moments when faith flickers. For Christian nurses and doctors, that moment often comes in the middle of a shift, when a prayer seems to fall flat, or a loss cuts too deep to make sense of. You might whisper, "Lord, where are you?" And all you hear is the hum of machines. But friend, silence isn't absence. God's still there, quietly mending what fatigue has frayed. In those seasons of Christian burnout recovery, faith doesn't vanish, it shifts. It becomes quieter, deeper, and more real than the easy faith of sunny days. Picture a nurse who's prayed for healing over and over, only to watch another patient slip away. She questions everything, her calling, her faith in healthcare, even her place in God's story. But that's where grace enters. Trusting God in hard times isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's about bringing your honest heart to Him anyway. It's saying, "I don't understand, but I still choose you." That's how spiritual strength for healthcare workers is built, not through perfection, but persistence. The truth is, faith under pressure doesn't make you weak. It proves your roots run deep. When you keep showing up with a tired heart and trembling hands, heaven takes notice. You may not see it yet, but every quiet yes in the dark writes a louder story of hope. And maybe that flickering faith isn't fading. It's being refined into something unshakable, preparing you for the light that's about to break through. Right on schedule, God's unseen plan. There's something powerful about realizing that what feels like delay is often divine design. Many Christian healthcare workers think they've missed their moment, too tired, too late, too far behind. But that's the lie burnout tells. The truth? You're not behind, you're becoming. God's perfect timing doesn't operate on hospital clocks or career milestones. It moves with eternity in mind. Every sleepless night, every whispered prayer for nurses, every act of compassion when no one's watching, it's all part of His blueprint. Take, for example, a doctor who once dreamed of mission work but found herself stuck in paperwork and policy. She wonders, did I take a wrong turn? But what if the purpose and calling she longed for is already alive in her daily rounds? The way she comforts families, advocates for patients, and carries Christian motivation into sterile rooms. Sometimes, God's timing doesn't send us elsewhere. It deepens us where we are. The waiting, the working, the weariness, it's all training for the next chapter He's preparing. So when you feel like life has left you behind, remember, divine schedules don't miss appointments. Trust God's plan, even when you can't see the map. He's aligning your heart, refining your character, and orchestrating something beyond your comprehension. You might not see it now, but one day, you'll look back and realize, every delay was direction, every detour was destiny, and every quiet moment was Him right on time. If you've made it this far, take a breath. Really, pause for a second. You've walked through stories of exhaustion, waiting, and pressure, and yet, you're still here. That means something. Maybe today, God wants to remind you that your purpose in healthcare isn't measured by your pace, your performance, or your position. It's measured by your perseverance and your faith. Every act of care, every tired smile, every whispered prayer counts. You're not behind. You're becoming exactly who God designed you to be in His time. So here's the challenge. Will you keep showing up, even when you don't see the results yet? Will you dare to believe that God's timing is not your enemy, but your greatest ally? Ask yourself, what if this late season is actually your launching pad? What if your faith under pressure is the soil where miracles grow? The waiting doesn't mean you've lost. It means He's still writing your story, and He's not done with you yet. If this message stirred something in your heart, if it reminded you that you're seen, valued, and right on schedule, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with another Christian nurse, doctor, or caregiver who needs hope today. And hey, before you go, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep walking this journey with us. Together, we'll keep learning how to trust God's plan, even in the waiting. Because you're not late, you're right on time.